According to the European Wind Energy Association, the average size of onshore turbines being manufactured today is around 2.5 to 3 megawatts, which is bigger than the Statue of Liberty and equals to 4 to 5 million US dollars. Therefore, as you've guessed, this requires a lot of funding. And so the areas where wind turbines are most installed are where funding is easier to achieve, such as in Europe, USA, and China. But what if we could change that? What if we can provide electricity to people where the national grids are either not there or are not providing electricity to the people? This question has led us to an NGO called WindAid Institute. They are based out of the coast of Peru in Trujillo and currently has over 60 turbines that they have manufactured and installed from the coastal region of Playa Blanca to the mountains of Cajamarca. The wind turbines are anywhere between 0.5 to 1.5 kilowatt, which means they're useful to provide electricity for things such as having some light at night, charging cell phones, or even running a small fridge. These are things that we take for granted, but for many communities, this is an important improvement. The organization is run by employees from the local region and volunteers from all over the world. In 2016 alone, they installed 17 turbines with the help of 59 volunteers. The 17 installations give access to renewable electricity to over 260 rural Peruvians. Not only is WindAid installing turbines, but they are also supporting research at universities from all around the world. You might ask though, why Peru? There are so many underserved communities with the need for electrification. Well, 37% of the rural population of Peru lacks connection to the grid, and some parts of Peru have ideal wind conditions. This makes Peru a perfect place for small-scale wind turbine installations. We had the honor of interviewing one of the co-founders and the executive director of WindAid, Nick Warren. He started as a volunteer 6 years ago and never left. He had a lot of wonderful insight on the growth of WindAid and its impact in the Peruvian communities.
Are there currently any R&D pilots running with new communities?
Yes, the dream of WindAid is not only to build and install wind turbines, but to install complete mini-grids. Currently, there are 2 pilots running with 2 communities, one of them being located in the Andes and one town at the coast called Playa La Gramita. Currently, we are conducting community research on several fronts, such as wind resource potential and impact assessment. The aim is for the coastal town to install 5 of WindAid's biggest wind turbines and attach the whole electricity grid to this. However, it could even be expanded to hybrid system.
Is there an example of a remarkable manufacturing improvement since WindAid started?
One of our volunteers, Roberto Weitzer, an electrical engineer, made significant improvements to the battery charge controller. After analyzing the electronic devices we use for the electricity generation system, it was obvious to him that we would benefit from having our own devices custom-made and locally built. We were paying a high cost to import the devices from the Far East, and there were no documentation available, so when the controller broke down, there was no means to call for help. Also, the controller had no maximum power point tracking function. So Roberto decided to modify the first WindAid battery charge controller. After the initial R&D cost, the controller production cost was cut in half, and it was also possible to repair it now in case of malfunction.
Have there been any volunteers that have done something remarkable internationally after their time at WindAid?
I'm really glad you asked this question. One of our volunteers, Ray Rickett, yes, we used to call him Johan, came down to Peru 2 years ago. After his time at WindAid, he decided to go in the jungle with some other volunteers. When he came back to his home country, France, he acknowledged how much he got inspired by the jungle. He founded an NGO, Aku, that exclusively works in the Peruvian jungle. It focuses on sustainability in any way they can. For instance, Aku and WindAid are currently working on a project.
Now that we've listened to parts of the interview with Nick, let's dive deep into some other facets of WindAid. The manufacturing process is remarkably alike to that of a large wind turbine. The blades have a foam core that is wrapped in fiberglass, and both are vacuum injected with resin. But a big difference with large turbines and WindAids is the process of making the stator, where the coils are turned manually. The most expensive parts are the magnets in the rotor, carbon fiber for blades, the battery charge controller, and the inverter. Regarding redesign issues, the WindAid engineers have noticed that it is crucial not to focus too much on optimizing specific elements, but always optimize the system as a whole. Although WindAid until now has focused on Peru, the consideration of expanding is definitely present. However, they acknowledge that there is still a lot to learn and do in Peru. Thus, to expand to other countries, it is crucial for WindAid to approach it appropriately. However, WindAid has been internationally active at a different front. A decade ago, the NGO Wind Empowerment was launched under the supervision of a WindAid employee, Jessica Ribbs. Wind Empowerment connects small wind organizations throughout the world, ranging from NGOs to social enterprises, universities, governmental institutions, to training centers. This enables people from all over the world to learn from each other on various matters, such as manufacturing, the importance of education, or social impact issues. This NGO has been crucial for WindAid in knowledge sharing and growing internationally. A big challenge for WindAid is to keep improving the turbine performance, but they are confident that they will succeed. However, the biggest challenge for WindAid is to enable full responsibility of the turbines within the installed communities. Although substantial training is given to the community members to maintain the turbines, for various reasons, WindAid is still involved in the turbine upkeep, but WindAid will do anything in their power to overcome this challenge. Furthermore, they think eventually communities will be so independent that when their blade breaks down, for example, community members will find a better solution by themselves and educate WindAid about the improvements. Let's end with some statistics of the world again. In 2016, the World Bank estimated an electrification rate of 76% for the rural population, and the population will only keep increasing. Therefore, WindAid's 12 years of service as an NGO is having a significant impact on the lives of people, especially communities in rural areas with limited access to electricity. Besides having an immediate impact in terms of being able to use electrical appliances more easily, the long-term impact it has on creating awareness regarding living sustainably will echo within the communities, hopefully for generations. Hopefully this presentation gave you some insight on how small-scale wind turbines can be used. And we leave with the question of, do you think wind turbines could be implemented for people with limited access to electricity?